Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. A little bit about my situation. I have about $44,000 in student loan debt, and I'm currently in the Army National Guard, which my contract is ending here next month. And if I extend for another 6 years, they'll pay off about 15% of that student loan debt per year, I think, over the course of the next 6 years, of which I think it's taxable income. And just want to get your thoughts on, do you think it's worth it to extend to get that debt paid off, or try and pay that off with my personal or full-time job?
What is your full-time job?
I do IT auditing.
And what does that pay?
I make about 105.
Oh, sweet. Well, making 105, I mean, is it taking a lot of your time? Are you passionate about the National Guard stuff? Or would you rather just lean into your full-time job?
I want to lean into my full-time job, but at the same time, I'm going to be getting married here probably within the next year. And I want to buy a house, and use my savings towards, a down payment on that house. So, I could pay them off right now, but I don't know if it's worth it or not to stay in. I'm not that passionate about it, but
here's the deal, Nick. Absolutely do not risk the lives of those servicemen and women who will rely on you in the times of great stress and great fear and great need, and in a stressful response situation, just because you have a 6-year plan to get your student loans forgiven.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm doing it just for the money.
Yes, the stakes are too high for you to do something this important and this dangerous, quite frankly, just for the money. One of my closest friends and colleagues in the world, she is in the National Guard. She does amazing things, but she is fully in. She's fully committed, and it's taken a lot from her. And she is service oriented, so she gives it that way. If she was in this just for some cool perks, and over the next, dude, you make too much money. Pay your stupid student loans off and get on with your life. You sound paralyzed by indecision across the board. This isn't about this job. This isn't about, do I pay my student loans off? I kind of want to get married. You just start making some decisions and start walking forward some way.
I know. I just feel like it's like this weight on my shoulders, as a lot of other people do, in the country, and it's just the thought of like, hey, I'm paying this back. I'd rather use that money towards something else. And
did you sign your name on a piece of paper and you told somebody, whoever they may be, if you help me get through college, I'll pay you back?
Yeah.
Then pay them back. You make six figures, right, dude.
And on the math side, I mean, they're paying $6,000 for the first year. That's 15% of the 44. It's not worth it when you make 105 to wait 6 years to become debt free, instead of you taking control and going, I make over $100,000. I'm paying this thing off in the next 12 to 18 months. And that puts your future in your hands, because now we're getting a home a lot sooner. Once we become debt free, we're going to build a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. Now we're starting to save up for the down payment. And now this isn't a 6-year plan. This could be a 3 or 4-year plan. So I think you know what to do at this point. From the heart issue to the math issue, you know what you got to do. The question is, are you going to go about the business of doing it and saying, I'm done with this debt and I'm going to handle it myself?
Okay.
And listen, I can't tell you, brother, how many people have called over the last 2.5 years, 3 years. I've been sitting in this chair waiting for the next student loan forgiveness thing that was going to come through. It's been forbearance and a forgiveness, and it's they're delayed, and now they're just going to go into this forbearance with no. Just pay the stupid things off. Pay them off. Quit waiting for somebody to come save you, man. Just do it. And the day you pay your last loan off, the day you write that check and hit send, and they come out and they announce, whoever they happens to be, we're forgiving all student loans. you'll be able to sleep at night because you signed your name on a piece of paper that said, I'll pay you back, and you kept your word. To nobody, if nobody else, but just to you. And you will have proven to yourself you're a person of character. Move on with your life. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Be resolute, man. Stand tall. Throw your shoulders back. Put your head up.
I don't think it's worth the other, or to the other people to stay in for another 6 years when I'm not fully invested.
Let me put it this way. I wouldn't want you standing shoulder to shoulder with me if you were doing this for an extra $500 a month in student loan forgiveness. I would want somebody who was ready to jump in front of a bullet for me because I'm ready to jump in front of a bullet for you. And if that's not where you're at, no, that's all good. I'm not in the service, obviously. Then, yeah, I think you've answered your own question.
Okay.
All right,
cool? Well, I appreciate all the advice.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
I think the person who you trust the least right now is you. You just feel indecisive, and I would say take a hard step. And I'll also say this, George. There are people, I've worked in this industry for almost 2 decades. There are people who signed their name away to things they had no idea what they're getting into. And there was entire swaths of people that I think were targeted and tricked. So there's no shame to sit down and say, hey, I need help, right? And that's a whole other conversation. But if you're sitting there making 6 figures and you're thinking about trying to take this somewhat risky side gig for 6 years and just pay them off, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's not worth the golden handcuffs at that point when there's really not that much gold.
Those are like, those are like
copper, maybe?
No, they're like pipe cleaner handcuffs.
Pipe cleaner. Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? They're like not very strong.
Well, all of this conversation reminds me of our documentary Barred Future, which you were featured in, John, because of your experience in higher ed. You brought some really cool perspective to this whole thing. So I want to encourage anyone who's in this world, you've got student loans, you're thinking about taking them on, please go watch our documentary Borrowed Future. It's on YouTube. It's free. Go check it out. It'll spark some amazing conversations from parents to kids.